So let's continue now. For one, I get an error that store.js wasn't found in main.js. Yes, because I'm importing from store index.js. That would be correct. So make sure you have this import set up correctly. But besides that, we now also need to wire up our store with the different components and clean up the app view component. In there, I don't want to provide anything anymore because I don't want to manage any data in there anymore. We still have is logged in there, but we're going to remove this soon as well, just as these methods. For the moment, let's ignore them though. But let's now start using our modules. Now, one thing I forgot is in cart.js, in this cart module, I also want to namespace this. So set namespace to true in here. And now let's use it in the different parts of this app. For that, we can start in products list. Here, I previously injected products. We're no longer going to do that. Instead, I now want to get access to Vuex. So we can add a computed property and either use the map getters helper or add our own computed property, which is what I will do. Maybe name it products and return this store. And now let's see. In the products module, I have the products getter, but keep in mind that this module is namespaced and the namespace is prods. So what we should access here in products list.view in the pages folder is .getters, and then it's prods/products. And this gives us a products computed property now, which we can use to loop through all the products. Now we currently can't preview this because we still got errors on the page, but this should work. Now let's fix the other errors. Let's make sure we also get the cart data in the header correctly. It's no longer cart quantity, but let's say cart quantity as this, like this, as a computed property in the future with this name. And we no longer inject anything here, but instead we add computed, add this cart quantity computed property, which I just referred to in the template. And in there, return this store. And now here, we also namespaced cart. So we access this store getters, and then use the cart namespace, which is cart, in the index.js file in the store folder. So access cart slash, and then the getter I'm interested in my case, is the quantity here. So that's slash quantity. Let's save that. And if you now reload, you should see products again and at least see cart. You can't go to cart or you'll not see anything there and the app breaks, but at least the first pieces are working now. So let's now work on the other parts. In user cart, I'm interested in the cart items. So here I'll change this and expect cart items, which I soon will add as a computed property. And I also use the cart total here. We no longer inject the cart here. Instead, the computed property for cart total will now refer to this store getters and then cart slash, what was it? It was total sum. So refer to total sum here. And add another computed property called cart items, or whatever you are using here in the v-for loop. And here return this store getters cart slash, and then it was products, I think. Yes, products was the getter name. With that, if we go to cart, this also works again. Now let's make sure we can also add things to the cart and remove them. So for that, we need to dispatch actions. So for the actions in the components folder, products, product item, I got the button to add something to a cart. Previously, I injected add product to cart for that. Now we can delete this and instead call this store dispatch and then dispatch a function which is named add product to cart. No, sorry, that's the mutation, which is named add to cart. That's the action. So dispatch this, but it's namespaced, so it's cart / add to cart. And now, of course, this object here is the payload, which I want to transmit. And actually here we have to be careful. In the module, the Vuex module, we forward that payload to the mutation. And in the add product to cart mutation, I expect to get a product key on my payload, which then has all the fields I try to extract. Now, if I just pass the entire object like this as a payload, there is no product key in there. So we either nest this data here into another object under the key product in this payload object, or we pass the payload like this and adjust our logic in the mutation to simply set payload as we get it equal to product data, from which we then extract ID and so on. And that's what I'm going to do because it means less code changes. Now in a card item, components card item, we got the logic for removing an item. Previously I injected this, no longer needed, so let's get rid of it. And instead here, I want to simply call this store dispatch card / and then the action name is remove from card. And on the payload, which we want in the mutation, I expect to get a product ID field in the object which I get. So in card item, I dispatch card / remove from card and pass an object as a payload, which has a product ID field which points at this prod ID, which is this prop which holds the product ID. With that, theoretically, hopefully, we should be able to add and remove items. And you see the badge here updates as I add items to the cart. If I go to the cart, the total looks good. We see the cart items, and if I remove them, the total and this badge updates. So that seems to work. Now I get a warning regarding is logged in, but we'll fix this soon. The main thing here is that we now migrated the products and the cart functionality. Now to score some bonus points here, we could actually also change our add to cart logic. In product item, I'm currently passing the entire product data. We could argue that all the product data is already in our store, right here in products.js. Here we got all the products. So the only thing which we really have to pass here to add to cart should be the ID of the product. So let's do that. Let's get rid of the image and title and price here. Let's delete it and just forward the ID on the ID field. And now in the cart, in add product to cart, I get my payload which no longer holds all the product data. Instead, now here I just get my prod ID by accessing the ID field on the payload. That's all I get here. And this is of course not enough. Now the problem is, because everything is namespaced and the state inside of a module is local anyways, the state we're getting here is just this state. It has no information about the products. Therefore, we should actually get this product ID in the action, in the add to cart action, because in here in this context, we actually also do get access to other parts of the Vuex store, not just to this module. Here on context, we will have a root state object which has access to the root state, but even more important than that, we got access to root getters. And on the root getters, we can get access to other namespaced getters as well, namely here to my products getter in the products module. How? Simply by accessing square brackets, then the namespace name, which in this case is prods for the products, and then the getter name, which is products here in the products module. With that, we actually get our products, and now we can filter out the product with this ID. So now we can get our product by searching products with the find method for the product where the prod ID is equal to the prod ID we got here. This is a built-in method for searching all items in an array, and when this function returns true, we got the item we want to have, and it then returns this item. And then it's this product which we can pass as a second argument, as a payload, to our commit method here. So now we receive the entire product in this mutation, and payload therefore again is the entire product data. If we now save this, hopefully adding to cart still works, and this does look good, and we still see our data here. But now we are getting it differently, a bit leaner, leveraging actions and not passing all the data around as a payload, at least not when we dispatch it inside of our component. It's up to you which approach you prefer, but this is a common scenario, therefore I also wanted to show this to you here. With that, the only thing that's left is the login state.